Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about a three-letter word you hear all the time on the news, GDP. It sounds kind of complicated, right? But it's actually directly connected to your wallet, your job, and your future. So let's break down what it's all about.
So you'll see a headline pop up with a big number like this. India's economy is projected to grow by 7.4%. Wow, that sounds fantastic, and it makes for some really great news. But what are we actually talking about here?
And that's the real question, isn't it? How does a giant number like that actually trickle down and affect our day-to-day lives? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into right now.
Okay, so the easiest way to think about GDP is like a country's financial report card. It gives us a quick snapshot of how healthy the economy is. And you know what? Learning how to read it is a real game changer. Here it is, the official textbook definition. I know, it sounds a little academic, a bit dry, but trust me, the key ideas behind it are actually pretty simple. It's basically the price tag of everything a country makes and does in a certain amount of time. Let's break that down. It really all boils down to three key ingredients. First, whatever is being produced has to be made inside the country's borders. Second, it's always measured over a specific time frame, usually a quarter or a full year. And third, this one is really important, it only counts the final goods and services.
So what on earth is a final good? Well, think of it like this. If you go out and buy a brand new car, the full price you pay gets counted in the GDP. But the cost of the steel, the tires, and the glass that the car company bought to build your car, that's not counted separately. Why not? Well, it's to avoid counting the same thing twice.
Right? It's just like making bread. We count the price of the finished loaf you buy at the store. We don't also add the value of the farmer's grain and the miller's flour, because their value is already baked into the price of the bread. This way, we get a nice clean number for everything a country produces.
Okay, so now that we've got a handle on what GDP is, how in the world do economists actually figure out this massive number? Well, there are a few methods, but let's look at the most common one, which is all about tracking the spending.
You've probably seen this formula on TV. C+I+G+NX. It kind of looks like something out of a math class, but don't worry, it's just a simple way of adding up all the money being spent in the economy.
Let's decode it real quick. C is for consumption. That's you and me buying groceries, paying for a haircut, streaming a movie. I is investment. That's businesses spending on new machines or buildings. G is government spending on things like new roads, schools, and the military. And finally, NX is net exports. That's just the value of what we sell to other countries minus what we buy from them.
And this is where it gets super interesting, especially for a country like India. Look at this chart. Consumption, that's our spending, makes up over half of the entire economy. That is huge. It means consumer spending is the main engine driving India's economic growth.
Now stick with me because this is a really important difference. You have nominal GDP, which uses today's prices. The problem is if prices just go up because of inflation, nominal GDP goes up too, even if we aren't actually making more stuff. That's where real GDP comes in. It adjusts for inflation, so it shows us the true growth in what a country is producing. So that 7.4% growth we talked about, that's real GDP.
And just to give you a sense of scale, India's projected nominal GDP for 2026 is an absolutely mind-boggling $4.5 trillion. It's such a massive number, which naturally makes you wonder.
So let's zoom out and look at the big picture. With an economy that massive, where does India actually stand in the global lineup?
The answer might actually surprise you. We're not just talking about size here, we're talking about momentum. And believe me, the global economic map is changing fast. So get this, by 2026, according to projections, India is set to become the world's fourth largest economy. That means overtaking Japan. This is a huge deal, a monumental shift that's happening, because India is the fastest growing major economy on the planet.
But as incredible as that is, hold on, because that's not even the whole story. There's another really interesting way to measure economic muscle that tells an even bigger tale. By this other measure, India is already number 3 in the entire world. So wait, how is that possible? We just said 4th, now it's 3rd. What's going on?
Well, it's because of something called purchasing power parity, or PPP. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. It adjusts the numbers based on how much things actually cost in a country. Since things are generally cheaper in India, your money goes a lot farther. And when you factor that in, India's economy is already the 3rd largest, right behind the US and China.
So it's pretty clear that GDP is this incredibly powerful tool. But, and this is a really important but, it's still just one number. To get the full picture, we have to understand what it doesn't tell us.
First off, let's be super clear. A growing GDP is a good thing, a very good thing. It's the engine that creates more jobs, that allows salaries to go up, and that pays for stuff we all need, like better roads, schools, and hospitals. It's a critical vital sign for a country's health. But GDP is also blind to a lot of things. It has no idea if the money being made is being shared fairly. It doesn't matter the quality of our air or water. It certainly can't tell us if we're happy. And it completely ignores all the valuable unpaid work done at home, not to mention the entire underground economy. You see, it's a measure of quantity, not necessarily quality.
And that leaves us with this final big question. If GDP is just one part of the report card, what other things do you think we should be looking at to measure a nation's true success and progress? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.